What is up, guys? Kevin David with That Lifestyle Ninja, and I'm going to make a very bold claim today. I'm going to make the claim that I am 100% sure that if you understand every single portion of this video over the next hour, that you could open a Facebook ad agency tomorrow. So make sure that you understand, right? Don't memorize. Understand every single portion of this video, and you can go from someone who knows absolutely nothing about Facebook advertising to a Facebook ads expert. Alright guys, this is going to be a very exciting one. For those of you who do follow my channel, the one thing that I know as well as Amazon FBA is definitely Facebook ads. I've been around since the beginning. I definitely remember like when they brought out all of their new features, right? When they started doing Instagram, Power Editor and everything, right? So you guys are going to learn from all of my mistakes. We are going to go over every single thing you need to basically master Facebook ads from beginning to end. So sit tight, this is going to be a good one. We are also going to reveal exactly how I turned $262 into over $7,000 profit in one day. So stay tuned till the end. That is going to be a good one. So let's talk about the basics really quick. For those of you who know Facebook ads, you can skip a few minutes ahead if you want, but these are important things that everybody kind of needs to understand so that they can really have the infrastructure to build into the more advanced things. So Facebook, you build ad campaigns in 3 levels. You start at the campaign level, right? This is where you can actually have multiple ad sets, and each ad set has multiple ads, right? So a campaign is kind of the highest level. Within the campaigns, you have ad sets, right? Ad sets is where you actually do your detailed targeting. This is where you target and say, okay, only show my Facebook ad to somebody who likes Tony Robbins' page and also likes, Gary Vaynerchuk, or whatever you're targeting, whether you're targeting entrepreneurship or maybe you're looking at cats, right? And you're using audience insights, which we will talk about, to actually hone down on get the most targeted audience where you are going to get the most sales, right? And then you have the ad. The ad is kind of the lowest level. It's what the customers on Facebook actually see. This is where you have your copy. You say today only, like claim your 50% off coupon for this amazing basketball or whatever it is you're selling, right? So those are kind of the 3 overarching tiers of Facebook ads. Let's talk about a little bit of Facebook vocabulary, because to people who have never done this before, custom audiences, lookalikes, they can be kind of overwhelming, but really when you understand it, it's not that bad. So custom audiences you can make from pretty much anything, right? You can say, make me a custom audience of everyone who's viewed my order page but has not viewed my thank you page. Make me a custom audience of everyone who's visited my website, right? And if you guys aren't familiar with Facebook ads, you're kind of thinking to yourself, how do you know who's visited my website? And that's a great question. And the answer to that is using the Facebook pixel, which we will talk about in just a few minutes. The Facebook pixel is where the magic happens. It allows you to retarget, right? And don't worry if you're confused now, I will explain every single part of that. So custom audiences are incredibly important. You can import an email list, right? So let's say you had 100 people who signed up to your email list. You can create what's called a custom audience from that email list, and Facebook will say, okay, hey, we have 100 people in this list, and Facebook has an unbelievable amount of data. Let me just repeat that so you guys understand. Unimaginable amount of data. So when you give Facebook someone's email, they're saying, okay, this is this person, we have 200 different data points on this person. Make me a custom audience of everyone who is similar to this person's email, right? And so when you import a customer email file or whatever the case may be, Facebook says, okay, these people share all of these common attributes. Let's make a custom audience of those people, right? And so custom audiences are incredibly important. We will talk about it more. I just want to kind of introduce it so you guys kind of can get a feel. Lookalike audiences are really where Facebook's algorithms and data stores start to shine. So lookalike audiences you can create, let's say you have somebody who likes your page. Let's say you create a Facebook fan page for your amazing, cat jewelry, or if you're an entrepreneur and people are liking your own page, right? Once you have enough people who like your page, you can create what's called a lookalike audience of those people who like your page. So let's say I have 1,000 people who like my page. You need 100 at least from a country to create what's called a lookalike audience, but the more people you have, the more accurate Facebook is able to create that audience, right? So let's say I have 100 people who like my page, all from the USA. So Facebook's gonna look at them and say, okay, 90 of them are males, right? 90 of them are between the ages of 19 and 24. 90 of them, have this amount of money and this amount of education. So they take all of these different data variable points about these people who like your page, and they say, hey, okay, well, there's this amount of people in the USA, and they give you 2 million people back who share as many data point attributes as possible with the people who have liked your page. So it's basically a way of Facebook's using their algorithm to bring you the most targeted possible audience based on the data points you give them. So the more people who like your page, the more accurate the lookalike audience is, because it's able to match more and more data points and give you a more and more accurate actual lookalike audience. So custom audiences and lookalike audiences are incredibly important. You can actually create lookalike audiences from custom audiences, which is an advanced feature, and it's very, very powerful, and we definitely are going to talk about that too. So the last Facebook vocabulary that is absolutely necessary to know is what's called the Facebook pixel. So the Facebook pixel, it sounds complicated, but please trust me, it's actually not. Think about the Facebook pixel as an identifier, right? And so have you ever kind of been browsing on the internet and you've seen, let's say you're looking at some camping equipment on like a Shopify website, or which is, you just kind of cruising through the web. And then you come onto Facebook and you've seen an ad for what you were just looking at, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, okay, how the heck is that happening? How could they possibly know that I was just browsing that website? The way that they know is called the Facebook pixel. So it's basically a piece of code that you get from your Facebook ad account that you put, in the background of your website, and then whenever somebody visits your website, if they are a Facebook user, Facebook will say, hey, Kevin from Oregon visited your website. This is what we know about him, right? So if you want to retarget Kevin on Facebook using Facebook ads, we know that he's visited your website, so why not retarget him? Because any advertiser who knows anything knows that retargeting is where the magic happens. Retargeting is where you actually start to make the money, right? And so it's not anything fancy, but using Facebook pixels is absolutely pivotal to mastering Facebook ads, so do not ignore it, right? And we will talk about a little bit more of advanced features, which is called events, right? So with the Facebook pixel, you have what's called event codes. So let's say that you have a Shopify website or some type of e-commerce website. You'd put event codes on certain pages when you wanted to signify an event occurring. So I know that sounds complicated, but it's not. Just think about it like this. So if somebody visits your website, they're viewing your content, right? No other actions have been taken, so the view content event fires, right? So that says to the Facebook pixel, hey, this person has viewed content, right? And then you also add, right, an add to cart event. So then if this person also viewed content, they also added to cart. So you can start to target people even closer, right? And then let's say you have 100 people who fired the purchase event pixel, right? Then all of a sudden you have 100 people who have purchased, and then from those 100 people, you can create a lookalike audience or a conversion campaign, right? Targeting people who share similarities and traits with the people who purchased your product. So it starts to get really exciting. I think you guys are probably starting to understand how you can kind of, use this magic and art in a very, thought out, eloquent way to retarget people in a very succinct way where you're not wasting money on cold traffic, right? You're retargeting people are interested, and then you're creating custom and lookalike audiences based on that data. Right, so let's kick it off. So this is one of my ad accounts, right? Facebook has the annoying habit of shutting people's ad accounts down for basically no reason. So I always create multiple backups. So you'll see a number of different names of my accounts, right? Because I have a ton. And over the years, I've gotten a ton shut down, and I've been lucky and thankful to have backups. So one thing I want to talk about really quick before we get started, I use what's called Business Manager. So Business Manager is basically just a slightly more advanced version of the Facebook Ads Manager. So that's why you guys are going to see it like this. It's in one of my business names. So the Facebook Business Manager is important for a couple of reasons. So if you have multiple Facebook pages, you don't want to have to navigate through 20 different ad account pages. You want them all kind of in one succinct place, and you also want to be able to add access. So let's say you want to hire somebody to help you with Facebook ads, or refine your campaigns, or build out some new campaigns for you in different countries, or whatever the case may be. it's much easier to add somebody in Facebook Business Manager than it is in the normal advert account. So I always recommend anybody who's serious about Facebook ads to kind of sign up for the Business Manager, and it's very easy. You just go to business.facebook.com, create an account, and I'm not going to walk you guys through that because you can do it by yourself. So I am using the Business Manager. And so we're going to take a look at a number of my different campaigns later on, and I'll show you guys exactly kind of how I was targeting things, right? We can talk about how to see, how to look at website purchases, website conversions, and all of these different metrics, right? How to actually organize the columns themselves to see, what you're trying to focus on, whether you're trying to, collect emails through leads, whether you're trying to optimize for purchases based on that Facebook event pixel, right? And so it's quite easy once you know, or you've seen somebody set it up before, but I usually just am actually, optimizing for website purchases or website conversions, or depending on what your campaign is, you can do different things, but knowing how to set up your columns is very important on interpreting the data. So the last thing I want to talk about really quickly before we actually jump into the actual creation of an ad is the audience section, right? So from Business Manager, you just come over to audiences, and then all of a sudden, you can create all of these different things, custom audiences, lookalike audiences, and now you guys know what a custom audience is and what a lookalike audience is, right? Really quickly, I'll just show you kind of what it looks like. So a custom audience, you can use a customer file to match your customers with people on Facebook and create an audience from the matches, right? So that's what I was talking about before, a customer file. If you do have those email addresses, or you do have address data or phone data, the more data you supply Facebook, the more data points they can match and the more accurate they can actually give you back an audience, right? So you can do it with website traffic as well. Like I was saying, hey, Facebook, make me a custom audience of everyone who's gotten to my order page but has not seen my purchase page, meaning they almost bought but they did not buy, because the only way you see the thank you page is when you purchase. And so then you can create a very targeted audience of people who showed a very large amount of interest but then didn't actually purchase for whatever reason. Maybe they got a phone call, maybe their dog peed on the carpet. You never really know, right? So don't ever count these people out. Don't think that just because they didn't purchase they don't want to. Retargeting is where the magic happens, right? So app activity and engagement as well. So these ones I don't use as often, but if you are like an iOS or Android developer, right, obviously you can use this one. And again, engagement is a little bit less powerful. The main two that I use for custom audience are customer file and then website traffic. So really quickly, let's look at a lookalike audience as well. So it asks you for the source, right? So all of the different pages that you actually have on Facebook, you can use there, and then the location, right? So if you have, let's say I have 100 people who like my Facebook page from the USA. Let's say I have 100 people who like it from Germany. So I could actually choose Germany here from my Kevin David page, and then all of a sudden I have this very targeted population to then narrow down further in the German market, right? I could say, hey, Facebook, make me a lookalike audience of everybody who's similar to the Germans who've liked my page and also speak English, right? And then in the audience size here, don't get overwhelmed by this at all. It basically just means, how accurate you want it to be. The most accurate, most targeted, with the most data points that match is the 1 out of 10 on audience size. And so normally I choose 1 in the United States because we have enough people there, but let's say you're doing like a lookalike audience based on people who like your product from Japan, right, or like a smaller country, then you'd need to choose a little bit higher, because you normally want your audience size on a lookalike audience to be above 1 million. Like between the 1 and 3 million mark is definitely enough. Normally in the USA, if you have a lookalike audience, even on the most accurate, on the 1, you'll still have that data size. But again, in smaller countries, it sometimes can be a little bit, you need to go a little bit higher. So those are the audience types, and let's kick it off. So we are going to create a campaign. All right, guys, so really quickly, I just wanted to mention that this cheat sheet will be available for everyone for free for a while. It will be available for download in the Facebook Ads Ninja Facebook group that I will have as the first link in this description. I do want to keep that community small, just so we can all kind of like really help each other, but for a limited time, we are going to let everyone join. So if you are interested in Facebook ads, or you do want the cheat sheet, make sure you do join our Facebook group. In the description, it will be the first link, Facebook Ads Ninja. You can get access to this cheat sheet, right? I spent, a ton of time writing this out for you guys. So hopefully, you will like it. So let's talk about creating a campaign, right? And so This kind of looks complicated if you've never seen it before, but trust me, most of these you will, 99.9% of Facebook advertisers will never actually use. So I've been on Facebook ads for years and years and years now. Brand awareness, I've never used that once in my life. Um, Reach, again, I've never used it, but I'm sure some people have used it successfully. We are going to focus on the types of campaigns that are actually going to be most applicable to the most number of people. And that is traffic, engagement, and conversions, right? So really quickly, obviously app installs, it's, if you want people to install your app. Video views, if you want people to view your video, if you're trying to make a video viral, or you want to bring people into your ecosystem that way. Video views is interesting because you can actually retarget people based on how much of the video they watched, right? But it doesn't have to be a view audience to do that. You can create a traffic campaign where you have, your advertisement video, and then if somebody watched 25%, you can create a custom audience of people who watch 25%. You can create a custom audience of people who watch 50%. You can make a custom audience, you guessed it, of people who watched 75%, right? So the most important ones we're going to focus on is traffic, engagement, and conversion. So the life cycle of advertising, in my opinion, right, and what has worked extremely well for me, even when I had, my iOS game that I was advertising, when I was trying to drive traffic to my travel blogs that I was trying to monetize, when I was using Amazon affiliates to try to sell products to earn that affiliate commission. It's always worked for me, and it does work extremely well. It's important to understand why, right? So the first part of the ad lifecycle is engagement. Think about when you see an ad yourself on Facebook and what gives it instant credibility, right? So social proof is extremely, extremely important when you are advertising on Facebook, when you're selling a product, when you're selling a service. It doesn't matter what it is, people like reviews, right? It's just like Amazon. When you're buying a product on Amazon, would you rather buy a product that has 100 5-star reviews or 0, right? So engagement is incredibly important. You want your ad to have some engagement. You want to have some likes on your ad. You want to have people commenting on it. You want to have people sharing it, right? When you see an advertisement pop up on Facebook, one that has no interaction at all, and one that has 100 likes, some people laughing on the comments, right? Maybe like a couple shares and things like that. It instantly says, okay, these people are interested about this ad, so maybe I should be interested as well. So engagement is incredibly important. So we will talk about how to get very cheap engagement, because it's not necessarily, you don't need people from the USA to like and comment, right? Because USA, getting people to like and comment is much more expensive than using third world countries. So I'll talk about the strategy I use to use third world countries to actually build up the likes and comments and engagement of an ad, and then run that ad in the USA, where you're more likely to actually get sales if you're from here, right, or the UK or wherever you're from. So we get very cheap engagement using third world countries, which we will talk about. And then once we have that engagement, we rerun that same ad in the United States market. Now that it has that social proof, then we can start to get much higher conversions. So after we get some social proof, traffic is where you can actually, traffic is the most general, most broad, most widely used type of campaign on Facebook. You can do anything here. You can drive somebody to a Facebook page, an Instagram. You could drive them to your Shopify website. You could drive them to an Amazon listing. It doesn't matter what it is, right? A landing page to collect emails. It does not matter what it is, but it's the most common, and it is basically what you want to use, if you're targeting cold traffic. So in my opinion, if you're doing your targeting correctly, it'll never be cold traffic, but it'll be, lukewarm traffic. But traffic is your first line of defense after you've built some engagement. Once you've kind of gotten people into your ecosystem, once you have people visiting your website, visiting any part of your website, once you have people visiting your, add to cart page, your order page, once you have people actually making purchases, then you can use what's called a conversion campaign. So you tell Facebook, okay, I want to optimize this campaign based on all of your data you have as Facebook. I want to optimize this specific ad campaign to convert for X, right? So let's say you want to create a conversion campaign for people who view your website. You could do that. You want to make a conversion campaign for people who add to cart. You can do that. Facebook will say, okay, these people are more likely to add a product to cart than anyone else. Facebook will say, okay, if I want to make a conversion campaign for people who purchase my product, Facebook will say, okay, this person purchased your product. We have all these data points on this person who actually purchased your product. Let's use all of the troves of data that we have on everyone else to match up all of those data points to bring you an audience that is most likely to also purchase your product, right? So it's incredibly important. Conversion campaign is definitely the most advanced, but also probably the most important. As you build more and more pixel data on more and more people who come to your, into your ecosystem, conversion campaigns become more and more profitable, right? And so the last one I want to mention really quickly is lead generation. So this is kind of a new one. It came about pretty recently, but it is incredibly important, right? So one of the things I always preach, if you guys are, tuning into the channel, if this is your first time, welcome to the Ninja fam. But one of the things I always preach is the importance of email lists, right? So if you can build a following, it's the most important thing you can possibly do to create, a sustainable business, a long-term business, right? So you always want to stress the importance of building an email list, right? Building a Facebook group. Everything I'm doing, I'm trying to be, strategic, right? We want to build our Facebook ads, Ninja group to help as many people as we can, but also, to build kind of a following that we can communicate with back and forth, right? So it's very important to build an email list. The lead generation campaign is a very cool new way that Facebook kind of gives you a template to collect, email addresses or, drive more sales leads or whatever the case may be. But I've used it as a contest platform, right, where I'll say, hey, I only have 1,000 of these PPC cheat sheet giveaways for my Amazon FBA business, right? And it'll actually display in that ad itself that people see on their desktop feeds, only 1,000 left, and it'll actually update in real time. That gives a little bit of an element of scarcity. People are saying, oh gosh, there's only 500 left, like I should probably get mine now, right? And so you're getting emails for a very cheap price using like an actual in-template version that Facebook gives you to collect emails. So we are going to do a traffic campaign, but those are the most important. Just to summarize, right? Engagement to build social proof. Traffic kind of drives that lukewarm traffic. Once you have people into your ecosystem, the conversion campaign is really what drives it home and optimizes and uses Facebook's incredibly accurate and powerful algorithms to bring you the most likely people to buy your product or service, right? And then last but not least, lead generation to kind of build that email list, right? So let's talk about actually naming a campaign. All right, so you want to be specific here, guys, because I know it doesn't seem like it, but as you get more and more into Facebook ads, you'll start to have tens, hundreds, even thousands of different campaigns, and it starts to get kind of confusing unless you kind of name it right up front. So let's say that we are selling, some products for our Micro Pig boutique Shopify site, right? And if you guys have never seen a Micro Pig, you should definitely check them out because they're the cutest things in the world. So we're gonna call this a traffic Micro Pig. We'll call it 91. Give a little hyphen here. Traffic Micro Pig Apparel 9117. And then we're gonna do cold, right? Because if you want to use a custom audience or a lookalike audience, then you'd want to name it here. So you'd say page likes lookalike audience USA. Right, but we're not going to do that here. We're just going to do cold traffic because I want to show you guys kind of how to be able to make a Facebook ad for any specific topic, right? Because the most important thing is when everyone's watching this video, right, they have a single website or e-commerce store or service or something or affiliate marketing or whatever they're trying to actually advertise for. So I'm going to try to make a video here that shows you guys, that doesn't teach you how to advertise for one thing, but teaches you how to advertise for anything, right? So we're going to set up the ad. United States, US dollars, America, Denver, yep. And so now we are into the advert set, right? And so the advert set is where you actually create, this is where the magic happens. This is where you can differentiate yourself from other marketers, right? Facebook ads are as much of an art as they are a science. I always say that there's so much room for being creative and using all of these different ideas in unison with another, creating a custom audience from people who visit your order page but not your thank you page, and then creating a lookalike audience from that custom audience, and then mirroring that lookalike audience into different countries, and then split testing based on demographics of age and gender and interest, and the possibilities are endless, you guys, and Facebook gives you so much power to create really just amazing campaigns. So you just have to get creative and you have to learn from the right person, and hopefully that's me. So the advert set name. So we're going to name this something specific as well. So we're going to call this um, micro pig apparel audience insights. And so audience insights is a very, and if this was a real campaign, I'd probably have more to actually name it. But, I'm just going to do this one from scratch. I really honestly have no idea if it's even going to work. But the point of doing it this way is that I'm going to try to show you guys that you can create an audience from literally anything. It does not matter if it's, digital marketing or something super popular, or if it's something as boutique as a micro pig. All right. So this is where we actually do our audience, right? So if we're going to do a custom audience, we would have already made one in the audience section right here. If we just come up to this menu, audiences, that's how we get here. And then we can create one either custom or lookalike. And so then once we're actually into the ad set targeting, which is where we are now, we can choose one of these custom audiences, right? So I've made all of these different audiences of people, in Canada, in Australia, all of my customers, people who visited the order form but not the thank you page, engaged with my page in the last 45 days, watched 10 seconds of any video, visited the site in the last 60, 30, right? Offline conversions, which we will talk about later. Offline conversions are incredibly important, guys, because once you start to have, people who are making purchases or, getting kind of to the final stage of your life cycle, in my specific case, it's people who actually purchased my FBA course, or, any number of my different Amazon ads, people who actually, go through and actually purchase my products. Once you have that purchase list, then you can create what's called offline conversion campaigns, which is a very slick way to use Facebook's incredible amount of data to create incredibly accurate targeting of people who share, many data points with the people who actually purchase your product or service. Right, so for this one, we're not going to use a custom audience because I just want to show you guys, completely from scratch how we're going to target these micro pigs. So 18 to 65 plus. For this one, how we actually get this type of data, because you don't want to just completely guess, right? You want to know, of everyone on Facebook, what gender and age groups and, everything we can figure out about them actually like micro pigs. So how we're going to do that is we're going to come over to the audience insights section. Right, so audience insights is an incredibly powerful tool for Facebook ads. Even if you're not advertising on Facebook, it's an incredibly powerful tool of seeing people's interests and demographics and all types of different information about basically anything in the world. So we're going to choose everyone on Facebook here. And let's talk about a few things of what we're actually looking at. So right now we chose everyone on Facebook. So this means that every single person on Facebook, 54% of those people are women, 46% are men. Right, with the lion's share of everyone on Facebook being between the ages of 25 and 44. 18-year-olds are a close third, and 45 to 54 are a fourth, right? So this is everyone on Facebook. So what we use audience insights for, it can look a little bit complicated, right? But it's not that complicated once you kind of understand it. This is the most important section right here, interests. So we're going to try to get lucky here with a micro pig. Oh, wow. Okay, so we have miniature pig, which is incredible. So now let's take a look at what we've actually seen change here. So before it was 54% women. Now we can see that 90% of people interested in miniature pigs are women. Right, so that's incredibly important if we're making a micro pig campaign here, because instead of targeting everyone, we would only want to target women, right? Because why would we target a interest that has 50%, showing it to 50% men and 50% women, when we can see very clearly here that 90% of people interested in miniature pigs are, in fact, women. So once you know that they're all women, right, there's a couple more things that we can take a look at. So don't get overwhelmed here, because not all of this is as important as one thing. So I'm skipping page likes because it is the most important. So we can see here location, right? People, 100% of people comparatively are interested in micro pigs coming out of Lexington, Kentucky. So again, when we come into this area, instead of choosing the United States, we could in fact go Lexington, Kentucky, right? We could also do Jacksonville, Louisville, right? And instead of choosing, the United States as a whole, we could narrow down on what Facebook thinks is actually, or what Facebook knows based on the data that they have of people who like miniature pig pages and things like that, are actually liking. So we choose these cities instead of the United States as a whole. We can take a look at their activity, right? People who like, comment, post like, and this is an important thing to kind of look at, right? Because when we're doing conversion campaigns, it kind of seems like magic. How could Facebook possibly know, which between two people who's more likely to like my post? But it's actually quite logical because they have, all this information on every single person on Facebook, how many times they've liked pages, how many times they've commented on posts, how many times they've shared videos. And so when you're optimizing a specific campaign for a type of conversion, whether it's watching a video or liking a page or whatever it is, Facebook has all this information on people where they can better target, people who are most likely to do whatever action you want to convert them on. You can see household information. So people who like miniature pigs, estimated income in thousands of dollars are primarily between $50,000 and $100,000. Actually, 11% of people are between $150,000 and $250,000. Most people are owners of their own home, right? So we can target that actually in our interest section. And I'm kind of hopping around, but we will go through this. So we can go homeowners. Oops, clicked the wrong one. So we'll go homeowners because we can see that 71% of people who like micropigs own their own home. So you can get a ton of different data here, about household size, household income, spending methods, all this type of information that's important. You can see, estimated online retail spending compared with other consumers. 42% are medium, 24% are high, right? A lot of information. Don't get overwhelmed here again. What we're mainly concerned with here, guys, is the page likes. So page likes are how you differentiate yourself as a Facebook marketer. So if you can get this section down, you can pretty much ignore the rest of it, right? And I'm just saying that so everybody focuses here. Page likes are the best, page likes are the best, page likes are the most important. So we can get demographics, location, right, to really hone in on our target audience before we get to the magic, right? But the magic itself is page likes. And we're going to talk about exactly why that is in a second. So let's take a look at what some of these different pages are. Priscilla the mini pig, I love my dog, maybe not be as relevant here. You see OMG, this one also might not be that relevant. Let's see if we see some piggies here. Now, so this looks more, this one looks more general. Best Friends Animal Society, Humane Society, PetSmart, Rough Country Rustic Furniture and Decor. So you'll see that some of these are not as applicable as others, but some are incredibly applicable, right? Priscilla the mini pig is perfect. Mini pig world, I cannot imagine a more perfect targeter on Facebook than people who like mini pig world. So I'm going to look at Krasimals, yeah. So this looks more general again, so we're not going to use that one. But Priscilla the mini pig is perfect. I got 100,000 people who like that. Mini pig world, we got 42,000 people who like mini pig world, which is crazy. But it's awesome, obviously. American Mini Pig Association. So this is ridiculous, right? So, I mean, I'm actually doing this live for you guys if you can't tell. But I just wanted to choose the most random thing in the world, and one of my best friends just bought a mini pig, so I thought it would be perfect to show that specific targeting because it's just such an incredibly random thing. So let's look at one more, just Best Friends Animal Society. So again, this one's a little bit more general. One last thing that I like to use is a service called Google Trends. So Google Trends is a really cool way, kind of with audience insights, where you can tell a lot about where people are searching something. So we're going to put miniature pig as a search term into Google Trends. We are going to narrow it down from worldwide to the United States for now. But I mean, if you had a Shopify store or something that shipped worldwide, you could send it all around the world and you wouldn't want to narrow it to just the United States. But for this exact example, we're just going to use the USA. And so we can see some data here. We can see that it was super popular on September 4th, right? A 99 out of 100. There might have been something like in the news or something like that. We've seen that it's maintained a pretty level standpoint around 75. It's dropped recently, but then it's made a kind of a comeback for miniature pigs, which is nice. But this is the important part, right? So when we're actually building our audience, it's very important to know, and this is based on millions and millions of different Google searches. We can tell that people in Indiana are most interested in micro pigs, right? And we can get even closer, right? So we can go to metropolitan areas, or we can go to actual cities, right? So it looks like there's not enough data for the actual cities, but we can do metropolitan areas. Oops, reset to worldwide. So let's do metro areas. So Houston, Texas, Dallas, Fresno, Visalia, right? So we could narrow this down, but this is where you'd want to split test, right? So you could do one campaign where you choose all the same narrowers, everything the same, but you choose Indiana, Texas, North Carolina, Washington, Virginia. And you could do one campaign where you do everything the same, but choose Fresno, Houston, Dallas, Denver, Atlanta, and see, because Facebook at the very end of the day is all about testing, right? So you want to test, does this work better? Does that work better? And then from there, you can actually really see which one is more profitable, which in the end is, the purpose of every campaign. So for now, we're just going to use subregions. We're going to use states here, and these three narrowers. So those are absolutely perfect, and I would never in a million of years have found those miniature pig pages unless I had used Audience Insights, search miniature pig in the interest, and then taken a look at the actual page likes themselves. So let's start to actually build this ad campaign. So we want people who speak English because I speak English. We want people who own their own home. And if we want to exclude people, we choose exclude. If we want to narrow the audience, we do narrow. And it's very important here to read exactly what this says, right? So, and must also match at least one of the following, right? So we could put all of our different demographics into this one section, and that means that our detailed targeting would be either homeowners or people who like, the American Mini Pig Association, or people who like Mini Pig World, but it's not, and like, right? Because that's the most important part to notice. So if we have a perfect interest that we think is, every single person that I want to show this campaign to ever must like this specific thing, then we want to put it by itself in its own category, right? So we are targeting miniature pigs, right? And so I want it to be by itself. So maybe they're a homeowner, maybe, based on some other type of, audience insights that we're looking at, like household, so they're homeowners, right? Most of them make between $50,000 and $100,000, so maybe we want to add that. So let's narrow further. And I want to just quickly show you guys kind of the browse feature because it's important to kind of take a look at. Income, right? So this is what we were just talking about. People are making, what was it again? Between 50, right here, 50,000 and 100,000, 46% of our entire audience. So between 50 and 100,000 right here. So we want them to be a homeowner who are, or, between 50 and 75, or between 75 and 99. This is not and, right? Must also match is by itself, which is when we click narrow further. So I want every single person in this entire campaign to have liked miniature pigs, but I don't really care if, they're between 50 and 75, or if they're between 75 and 99, or if they're homeowners. I just want them to be one of the three. So either or here, and is a must, which is very important to understand. So now our potential reach is 2,600 people, which is already, quite small. Really, we're only going to be showing, between 500 and 1,300 per day. But let's go a little bit further. Actually, let's keep this in the miniature pig because we're already pretty small here. Since it's, kind of a micro pig is not the most popular thing in the world, but I'm just trying to prove a point. So mini pig world. And something that you'll notice as you do more and more Facebook ads, let's see if it actually comes up before I say that. And it's not. Yeah, so sometimes you'll notice that, huge pages with hundreds of thousands of likes will not appear in the interest section, and sometimes pages with like 2,000 likes will appear, right? And so Facebook ads is just a, beast in itself, and it's not going to be perfect, and this is one of the main things I don't like about it. Let's see if Priscilla the mini pig is going to be in there. So let's go Priscilla the mini pig. And it's suggesting over-the-counter medication. So we're not going to do that one. So that's just, kind of a thing you have to live with Facebook. I will show one more example with Audience Insights really quick, just to make sure, just to show you guys that normally it does work. So let's do like Tony Robbins. So Tony Robbins, we can go to the page likes here. People who like Tony Robbins also like Gary Vaynerchuk. So if we came in here and we typed Gary Vaynerchuk, we could see that that does, of course, appear. Obviously, this is a different example. I'm just showing you guys that 95% of the time, the page likes you find here, you will be able to target. It just so happened that the two we chose, Facebook wasn't showing enough love to. So that happens sometimes, which makes it harder for me. Which is good, right? Because then I have to work a little bit harder. So let's go mini pigs here. Let's see if we can find like a magazine or something like that. North American Pet Pig Association. Let's try Pet Pig. Let's just go pig and see what we see. Intensive pig farming. Let's try micro pig. Mini pig. Oink. Right, so sometimes you have to get a little bit creative. I mean, this is, to be honest, we don't even really need anything else because we already have such a small audience. We've used Audience Insights to go 50,000 to 75, 75 to 100, who also is a homeowner, miniature pig, right? We're already at 2,600 because we're in Lexington, Kentucky only, right? So if we actually go a little bit larger here, let's instead use what we found in Google Trends. Indiana, Texas, North Carolina. Let's go Indiana, Texas, North Carolina, Washington, Virginia. And I've had very good success using Audience Insights and Google Trends as a split test. So in another split test, of course, we could go in here and go to demographics. First of all, we'd probably want to change it back from Tony Robbins because miniature pig lovers may not always love Tony Robbins. And so we can go location for miniature pig, and then again we could split test these specific cities versus what Google says the most popular states are. So for now, we're just going to do these 5 states according to Google Trends. Now we see we have a potential reach of 150,000 people, which means we need to think of another way or two to actually narrow this down. So let's see if we can find anything in here that we could find. So American Pig didn't work, Priscilla the Mini Pig didn't work, and Mini Pig World did not work. So if we scroll down a bit, we can see the affinity, right, which is how likely your audience is to like a given page compared to everyone on Facebook. So my audience would be 7,257 times more likely to like American Mini Pig than would the rest of Facebook. So let's see if we can find anything else here. Let's try Awesome Ocean, Best Friends Animal Society. Awesome Ocean. Cool, so we do see Awesome Ocean here, but we're not going to put it in this one, right? And why do you think that is? I'll give you a second to think about it, right? Because Miniature Pig is our most detailed, targeted, narrower, right? So we want it to be by itself because we want every single person we show this ad campaign to have expressed interest in mini pigs. So now we're going to do, actually let's take a look at what Awesome Ocean is first. Make sure it's not something crazy. So Awesome Ocean kind of looks like it's just, ocean stuff, which in my opinion has nothing to do with mini pigs. So let's do Best Friends Animal Society and then maybe the Humane Society, and then we'll call it a day. So Best Friends Animal Society. And something that I want to note just while we're here, if you notice, it actually appeared twice. Best Friends Animal Society appears twice. Be careful that you're not choosing employers here because it's only 2,500 people. Interest is 1.75 million. And then let's do the Humane Society again. Employers here. Be careful not to choose it. And so as of right now, we're at 7,300 people. Let's see what happens if we choose the Humane Society as its own of the United States. See if we get too narrow here. Nope. So it's still, you want the Facebook audience size to be kind of in the middle here. You don't want it to be too specific, or they might not show your ad as often, and you don't want it to be too broad, or you're going to waste money, right? So now we're down to 5,000 people, and let's break it down. So we need somebody who's either between 50 and 75, or 75 and 100, or owns a home. We need somebody who 100% likes a micro pig, and also 100% likes Best Friends Animal Society, and also likes the Humane Society of the United States, right? So we can save this audience if we want, or we can go ahead and move on to the next section, which is placements. So placements is basically where your ad is shown, right? So there's a number of different places you can actually use. So if you go to edit placements, you can kind of take a look at all of the different ones. If you want to only show it on mobile or desktop, let's say you have a mobile app, right? Obviously you wouldn't necessarily want to show those advertisements to people on desktop who can't actually download that app. But for us, we don't really care if they're on mobile or desktop. We can see, based on our results of our campaign, whether or not people are more likely to purchase from mobile and desktop, and then we can split test again, right? So if we take a look at the placements here, we can do Facebook feeds, instant articles, in-stream videos, right column, right? We can do Instagram, we can do the audience network, which just shows, as advertisements inside of apps and different places where they, have recidivism agreements. We can do messenger ads where it's actually, home or sponsored messages that are actually being sent to people's phones, right? So my experience, and you have to split test for your own, but I've had, thousands and thousands of different ad campaigns. I've spent, hundreds of thousands of dollars on Facebook ads over my life. What I've noticed is that the most effective ad campaigns for Facebook are through Facebook feeds, right? So I'm going to actually disable everything else except for feeds, right? And so I want to note that for certain types of products, let's say you have like a boutique fashion line or something like that, Instagram works great, right? So I like to split test. I'll create all of my ad copy, all of my interests, all of my different demographics for location and age and all of that, right? And then I'll set it as feeds, and then I'll copy the campaign exactly the same, and I'll change feeds to Instagram, and then I can see, everything else the same. The only difference is this one has feeds, this one has Instagram. Let's see which one is converting better and giving me more profitable sales. So for now, we're just going to do feeds here. And that actually brought our audience down to 1,800 people. So I'm going to do one other thing here. I'm going to put this one into here, the Humane Society. I'm going to close this one out. And then here we go, jumps back up to 5,100. Even when we are narrowing it down to just feeds. So budget and schedule, I like to usually set it between $10 and $50 a day. When you're first starting, right, everyone always asks me, Kevin, what should we set our budget at? How long should we run it? How long should we decide until our budget, or until we can say, yes, it's successful, or no, it's not? So there's no magical answer here, but I have found in my experience that you can tell a lot about an advertisement from spending $60, right? So I like to set it between 10 and 60, 20. If I set it for 20, I'll reevaluate in 3 days. If I set it for 10, I'll reevaluate in, you guessed it, 6 days. So we're going to set it for 20 just for now. And that means that you'll spend no more than 140 a link per week, Link clicks is fine here, right? Bid amount automatic. This means Facebook actually adjusts the bids for you for their ad auction algorithm. Manual bidding is incredibly difficult to master, and it's not something that you want to worry about because Facebook does a great job of automatically adjusting your bid campaigns for now. If you get super advanced, then it's something that we could retouch then on manual bidding campaigns, right? Because some people try to get really fancy and they'll pause their campaigns like overnight where people aren't necessarily going to be looking at them and all this type of stuff. Don't worry about that. Just get these ads started, right? Facebook is very, very good at delivering profitable campaigns. All you have to do is set your audience correctly, right? And then, get some engagement, get some social proof on your ads, right? Run your traffic campaigns, get some pixel data, and then run conversion campaigns and retargeting correctly. If you can master those basic things, which we are going to discuss and have discussed in detail, you are going to be A-okay. So now we're on to the actual ad itself. So micropig, we'll do single image today only, right? And so we're going to create an advert here. From your Facebook page, you want to create, if you're going to own like a micropig company, for example, it's so funny, I keep saying micropig, it's just ridiculous. But if you're going to own a micropig company, you want to create a Facebook page, right? You don't want to run your Facebook page from the Kevin David, entrepreneurial page. You want to make micropigs are us, or whatever you want to call yourself, and then make that Facebook page and then run your campaigns from micropigs are us, just so it makes sense. Because when people see the ad, they'll see like the Facebook page associated with it, and they want to see something that's similar, right? So create a quick Facebook page. And then this is where we can choose what we want to actually have our ad copy be, right? Whether it's carousels, single videos, slideshows, collection. For ours, we're just going to do single image. It is worth noting that video by far is the best converting advertising copy type, right? There's not a question. Video converts the best, and it's very powerful because you can create custom audiences based on view percentage, right? So if somebody's kind of interested, they watch 25% of your video, maybe you show it to them again through retargeting. If they're super interested, they watch 75%, but then they got caught up in something, right? Their house is on fire, whatever, they had to leave the computer for a second. Then you definitely want to make sure that you're, dumping money into the retargeting campaigns of people who've watched 75% of your video, because that means that they're very, very interested. So a cool little tool that I like to use to actually see other ads is called Ad Espresso Academy Ads Example, right? So this is a really cool little service that I like to use. It's probably not going to work because I have ad blocker engaged, but if you just run like a quick incognito window here, then that disables that little feature, because everyone uses ad block, but they can't. It doesn't work if you use it. So instead of turning it off, I'm just gonna go incognito. So miniature pig, I'd be pretty surprised if they have anything here. Yeah, they don't. But depending on what it is, let's say it's like, jewelry. Now we see 136 Facebook ad examples. So it's important to note here that I like to use these because it's very difficult to create an ad completely from scratch, right? You want to look at things that other people are doing. 30% off, right? 10 things that happen to change your appearance. You probably didn't know that. Get yours here. So all of these different ad copies to look at. The images themselves, right, earn 2 times more. All of these different like beautiful little imagery, 30% off. You kind of start to notice similarities that people are doing. Designer jewelry for the modern man, like a minimalist little thing with a video. It's starting in the same way, and you can kind of emulate the success of other ad campaigns to feature your own products. So let's take a look at a couple more. Let's look at my boy Tony Robbins. For some reason it's not loading. Let's give it a little reload here, and then go Tony Robbins. And here we go, Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins, right? All of these different things. Discover Tony's ultimate business formula. And these will just help you. Just trust me when I say it's very difficult to add really, to create copy just from scratch, looking at a blank template. Look at what other people have done, right? You don't have to copy it. I wouldn't recommend copying it exactly, but all of these different things will help you write these ads for yourself, without having to go from scratch, which is much more difficult to do. So that's just one tool I like to use. Another I like to use is swiped.co. Swiped.co is interesting because they actually will the owner of this website will annotate it, and he's a very professional marketer, and he'll actually annotate the ads themselves and talk about what we're actually looking at. So if we go here and go to Facebook ads, We can see here free Donald Trump hat trial offer, right? Male and female targeted ads from Ty Lopez. And this is an actual swipe study, which is cool because he'll actually show you what he's actually looking at. Creating a vivid scene the reader can step into and imagine. The photo below helps build on the visualization and emotion, right? So that's really interesting because it's not often that you get to see kind of from the mind of a marketer why these things are working rather than just kind of reading it and glazing over it, right? You either join the masses down there or you continue the climb. No compromises, no whining, no excuses, no second chances. Yours is a path constantly bombarded by the people below telling you that you can't do it. Activating our desire to be the cool kids, not like the masses, the desire to prove the doubters wrong, right? So I'm not going to go through all of this, but never just let yourself stare at a blank template. Look at what other people have done, right? Base your campaigns on what has been proven to be successful. Don't copy it, but use it as your inspiration, right? So don't ever let yourself get kind of hung up there. So I don't actually have any micropig imagery, but if I did own a micropig, I'd have a ton of adorable little micropigs, all like oinking around and jumping and wearing like adorable little clothes and things like that that I would use here, and videos of course as well, right? And then we'd run the campaign to our actual to our website here. We'd make sure to set up our Facebook pixel, right? I don't actually have one on this account, but creating a Facebook pixel is very important, like we talked about before, to actually tracking stuff. So let's run through. We're just going to do www.micropig.com because we don't actually own this website. And then we're going to write a headline. So what's similar to a micropig? Let's see if we can get anything. Maybe we could get like a puppy. Puppies. Nothing to sell. I'm just buying up ad space and filling it with puppies. Enjoy your day. Okay, so these guys are actually selling puppies. What's your spirit animal? All right, so I like that. So my spirit animal is a micro pig, and so maybe I'll use that. So we're gonna go. What's your spirit animal? And just for the sake of having a photo, let me grab a micro pig photo here, just so we can actually see the kind of finalized result of the ad, just because I want to show everyone. So we're going to use this image here. And normally you'd want to create an image in the 1200 by 628 pixel ratio. That just shows it correctly on all different types of Facebook feeds. So you'd want to make sure that you actually had it's set correctly. So maybe this photo is too small. Let's do mini pig Facebook ad. So here's a good one. This is close to the correct ratio as well. And normally, you wouldn't be running Facebook ads that you can just rip pictures off of Google, right? Because you don't want to get in trouble for IP claims and things like that. But just to show you guys, a finalized ad here. I'm not sure why it's still not showing this correctly. There we go. So mini pig. There's a cute little pig. What's your spirit animal, right? So we're gonna take another look at this. What's your spirit animal? View the entire collection from Puppies Make Me Happy, right? So this is a beautiful little advertisement. Let's say we're selling, micro pig shirts and micro pig tanks and micro pig clothes, right? We'd have a graphic artist that we could get from Upwork or Fiverr create us a nice little, graphic in the 1200 by 628, which we can find here. So it would appear best, right? I just took this off the internet just to show you guys. And so we're going to make our headline, our text. What's your spirit animal? View the entire micro pig collection today. And maybe we do something like 50% off sale, just to kind of get their attention. right? So especially number 2. This is always good, right? The clickbaity. You want to be not too crazy about it, but you'll love our micro pig sweater line. Especially number 2. Alright, so maybe we want to put this actually in lowercase just to bring attention. You'll love our micro pig sweater collection, especially number 2. Right, so you want to use tactics to get people kind of interested. You could do today only. You can split test all of the different texts and things like that. This one I probably wouldn't keep all of this just because it's a little bit too busy, but for now we'll just do today only. What's your spirit animal? And then we'll see what they had for their text, see if we like it. This just in from Women's Health magazine. Experts say the gear can actually make you happier, probably. Alright, so we could say Women's Magazine study pigs make you happier. Something like that. Right? And I'm creating this in like a minute, just to show you guys kind of what the final outcome looks like this. Right, we're driving to our website itself. We have our headline, we have our text. And once we set up our pixel, right, we could set our pixel. We'd insert that pixel onto our website, right, on all of our different pages, on the view content, on the add to cart page, on our thank you page. And once we did that, we'd be good to go. We'd confirm this, and that would be it, guys. And now we're going to take a quick look at actually how I'm installing my pixel and things like that, just to show you guys from a technical perspective, just how easy it is to do and not to get overwhelmed. Alright, so to find our pixel, we just come up here into the menu, we go to All Tools, and then we go over to the Pixel section. And for this particular account, we don't have a pixel yet, so we are going to create one from scratch. And as we know from earlier, right, the pixel is kind of how it identifies who's visiting which pages, which allows you to then create custom audiences and retarget, which is the true magic of Facebook ads. So we're going to create a pixel here. We're going to call this one Micro Pig Pixel. Just kidding, actually. We're going to call this one Kevin David Pixel, right? Because it's not only going to apply to our Micro Pig empire, it is also going to apply to, our next empire on, naked mole rats or whatever we choose. So we're going to go next here. And Facebook is going to create us our handy dandy pixel. So they make it pretty easy to understand, but we're going to go through the elements just to kind of hammer it home, just because coding is a little bit more difficult than other things are for most people, including myself, definitely. So this is how it works. So they have a little video here if you guys do want to watch it. But I've used Facebook Pixels for years now. Copy the entire pixel code and paste it into the website header. So I use ClickFunnels for most of my ecosystem. And so we're going to take a look really quickly at just one of the places that I installed this pixel into and how to actually install it. So we're going to go into one of my funnels here. This is one of the full course funnels. And as you can see, they have a settings section. So you can come into settings. And if you use a WordPress site, it's quite easy. Just Google search how to input a Facebook pixel into a WordPress site. There'll be a ton of tutorials, right? You could even YouTube it if you want. Just don't let yourself get overwhelmed. That's the key, right? Just if you can't figure it out for whatever specific service you use, if it's WordPress, if it's Wix or whatever, right? Don't let yourself get overwhelmed. Just Google search it. I use ClickFunnels. I've done it many times before on WordPress as well, just into the header section. But right here, we can just put the head tracking section, Facebook pixel. So we just literally take it from here, copy it, paste it into our head tracking, and then it will apply to all 3 sections of our funnel, right? I also do my Google remarketing tag and my Google Analytics tag, so that way every single person who visits my website is being tracked for my Google AdWords remarketing campaigns, for my Google Analytics campaigns, and for my Facebook Pixel campaigns. right? So that is how you install it. It's just that easy, right? And then you can, you can send a test traffic to your pixel just to see if it's working, which is, quite easy to do as well. But we're not going to do that right now. What we are going to do is talk about events, right? So an event is any action on your website that can be tracked, such as when someone clicks a button or visits a page. With the Facebook pixel, you can identify the effects that matter to you and give them categories, right? So we're going to do purchase. Purchase is very important. We are going to do complete registration. And basically how this works, guys, is, for example, we would just take this little purchase code right here, and just going back to my example, they would only see the thank you page here if they actually bought the course itself, right? And so if they bought the course itself, that's the only way that they would ever be prompted to see the final page of the funnel. It's the same thing as if somebody buys your product, they see the thank you page. We would come into the settings here. We would go to tracking code, and we would take this little purchase event, right, and we would literally just insert it right here. So I already have it in here, so I'm not going to paste it again, but this is where we would paste it. And then any specific action that led to a purchase, right, would fire the pixel event here, and then Facebook would say, hey, okay, this ad fired the purchase event, and then it would say, this ad, we spent $10, you got one purchase, and so your price per purchase was $10 per purchase, right? And so it's very important to set these up correctly. If you guys are interested, I can show you exactly how I set this all up in one of my funnels for selling a product or drop shipping or doing some type of Shopify thing for e-commerce. It depends on what you guys are doing, whether it's digital or actual physical products themselves. If you guys are interested, I'd be more than happy to make a very detailed tutorial on exactly how to set up your pixel so it gets seasoned, right? So you can get very profitable conversions, and so you can track your registrations, leads, and purchases. I'll make a super detailed one if you guys are interested. Leave me a comment below, and if not, I also want to open this up. If you guys have a specific topic or some type of product or service that you really want to see somebody who's pretty experienced with Facebook actually hone down and advertise, I'd be more than happy to make specific Facebook videos on advertising on any subject, right? Or I could go live and you guys could come down and leave comments, hey, show me how to make a targeted campaign to sell tripods or to sell garden equipment or whatever it is, right? So if you guys are interested in that, leave me a comment below saying you do want me to go live, and I'd be more than happy to in real time show you exactly how to advertise for any specific subject. So let me know in a comment below if that is interesting to you. So this is how we do our pixels, right? We can go done here, and now we are done. So the final thing that I want to talk about, and probably the most important thing, is retargeting, right? So let's make a simple retargeting campaign here. We're going to go custom audience, and we are going to do website traffic. Right, so when we create a website traffic campaign, we can do some pretty cool stuff here. So the way that I like to use this is people who visit a certain page of a website, and then we can exclude people who don't. And that sounds a little bit complicated right now, but I'm going to show you exactly how we do it just to make things clear. So this is a simple opt-in page, right? If people want the PPC cheat sheet that I created for my Amazon FBA business. So if people want to get this specific cheat sheet, they enter their email here, and then they're prompted to the next page where they can download it. So there's two pages here. This first page, which is the opt-in. So you would take that page, and this is under the assumption that both of these pages have our Facebook pixel installed on it correctly, which they obviously would, right, after I showed you guys exactly how to do it. And so we'd take that and we'd go people who have visited specific web pages, and we would go here, URL contains, and then we would enter our opt-in page, right? And the maximum amount of days you can do this for is 180. So you want to include as much possible data as you can here, just so Facebook can be as specific as possible. So then we are going to target everyone who's visited our opt-in page, right, but has not visited our thank you page. So we pressed exclude people who meet any of the following criteria. So again, we're going to go 180 days here, and we're going to go people who visited specific web pages. we're going to come to our second funnel step, and we're going to copy and paste the URL of our funnel here. And what this is doing now is this is creating a custom audience that we can retarget. And if you think about it logically, right, we want to get as many emails as we can. We want to get as many people downloading our cheat sheet as we possibly can, right? So we don't want to show our ad to anyone who's already downloaded our cheat sheet, already given us their email, right? So we're going to exclude all of them. We are going to include anyone who's gotten to the opt-in page, right? So they got to the page, then they decided maybe they didn't want it, right? Or maybe they, for whatever reason clicked away without actually giving us their email. So we're going to target everyone who's come to our opt-in page but has not given us our email, right? This is the same exact concept for someone who's come to your order page on an e-commerce website but has not actually purchased and seen the thank you page. It's the exact same concept if you're selling a digital product, right? They've come to your order page but they've not seen the thank you page. So ClickFunnels makes it very easy. But it's the exact same concept if you are using Shopify or WordPress or whatever it is. You just take the order page here and you exclude people who have seen the thank you page, meaning that you're only targeting people who have not purchased from you yet, but we're very close, right? And so we'd name this visited PPC opt-in but did not give email, right? And so we create this audience. Right, and then another cool thing, the second way that we could retarget, right, is then we'd create a lookalike audience from our custom audience. Right, so we can choose a custom audience or a page, and so we would just type in the exact audience that we just created. We'd put in United States here, or if we wanted to make a lookalike audience to target people in Canada or Germany, right? Because Facebook has so much data on everyone in all of these different countries all around the world that you can create multinational lookalike audiences, and then once you create that lookalike audience, you can assign additional narrowers like only people who speak English in Germany, only people who speak English in Germany who also like Tony Robbins or Tim Ferriss or whatever, whatever you're selling, right? And we showed you exactly how to do that using audience insights to find the most relevant interests, right? So those are the two ways that I've found extremely profitable from a retargeting perspective, right? There's so many other ways like retargeting based off video percentage. You can create custom campaigns off emails. You can do offline conversions by uploading all of the emails and information of people who have purchased your product or service or whatever, and Facebook can create custom audiences that way, right? So the opportunities are basically endless here, guys, but we just showed you how to create an ad, right? Everything about campaigns. We showed you how to use audience insights and Google Trends. We talked about how to set up your narrowers and create your audience, how to narrow it down from a demographic perspective, how to find page likes and pages that people like related to your specific product or service. We talked about how to set up your pixel. We talked about retargeting. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I mean, that is pretty much everything you need to go from a beginner to pretty close to an expert, and the rest of it really just comes through experience, guys. So I'm going to leave you with a single little quiz question that actually is a little bit harder than you might think. So I'm going to propose a scenario here. You have 100 people who visit your Shopify or e-commerce website, right? So you have 100 people who view your content. It fires that view content pixel. You have 10 people who add to cart, and you have 1 person who purchases. And you know all of that because your pixel's installed and you have your events set up right, on your view content page, on your add to cart page, and on your purchase page. You have those 3 installed correctly. So 100 people view your content, 10 people add to your product to cart, and 1 person purchases. If you wanted to create a conversion campaign, which would be the best to actually target? Would you retarget people who viewed your content? Would you create a conversion campaign on people who added to cart? Or would you create a conversion campaign on people who actually purchase your product? So leave your answers as a comment below. I'm really curious to see what you guys think about this answer. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you are interested in seeing me create another, much more detailed tutorial or, on setting up Facebook pixels, on retargeting, on some more of the very advanced methods, or you want me to do a Facebook Live to discuss, exactly how to target any specific topic, and I'll do that live for any of your products or services, let me know again in the comments, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that, and we will see you on the next one.